You're listening to Season 6 of the award-winning Home Ed Matters podcast, brought to you by the Strickland family from the West Midlands in the UK.
We're just a regular family of 5 on a home education journey, and we want to share our journey with you and encourage you on yours. So thanks for joining us, and here's this week's episode.
Hi everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to
Home Ed Matters podcast.
Season 6.
Episode 2.
Episode 2. Thanks for coming back.
Yeah, thank you.
If you listened last week, big welcome if you
Didn't?
If you are new, yeah. So we're delighted to have you here. Thanks. And as usual, let's talk about this week.
Yeah, lots.
So I think we should start with going back in time.
Yes. Let's get our time machine.
Going to go back in time because if you listened last episode, you would have known that Eden was prepping for being on duty at
The Black Country Museum.
So you were, because you're part of the Young Archaeologists Club.
Yeah.
And you got to go and dress up in character.
Yeah.
And do various things from like the 1900s, I suppose.
Yeah, it was really cool.
So we did some recordings while we were there. So we're going to play 3 recordings now. One was a general one.
Yeah.
About what was going to happen. Then one is in the store.
Yeah.
And then one is in the laundry.
Okay.
Well, where are we?
Black Country Museum.
We're at the Black Country Museum. And we've been having a meander around.
Yeah.
Because a bit later on, you are going to be in character.
Yeah.
Part of the Young Archaeologists Club.
Yeah.
What are some of the things we've seen so far?
We've seen that history head person thing.
Yeah, so there's a little trail to go around and pick and collect. We should have brought a pen.
Yeah.
So we've been taking photos.
Daddy's taking photos. Wait, have we only got one?
Yeah, we need to keep an eye out for the others. I'll take photos.
Yeah.
Where else have we been?
We went to the shop which I'm going to work in.
Yeah. And the most important shop?
My shop.
No.
The fish and chippy.
Well, there's a big queue for the fish and chippy. We haven't had it this time round. We had it last time when we came.
Yeah. What is the most important shop?
Well, what did you buy something from?
Oh, the sweet shop.
And what sweets did you get? Were they old-fashioned sweets?
Kind of. So I got like 4 mini chocolate mouses, a lollipop, and jelly babies. But Mummy swapped me one of my chocolate mouses for a lemon droppy thing.
Oh, that's pretty good. And we're going to go and look for the horses soon.
Yeah.
We've also been down to the canal.
Yeah.
And just had a general meander around. So we've just had our picnic in Folks Park, which is their kind of 1930s park.
Yeah, it's quite nice. But I
The
feel like
others are
they
just
should
playing
have
on
a
a play
better
area.
park.
Yeah. Well, but their
quite
focus
good.
is on everything else. And I mean, there is the bigger, like Mirabelle's had her on the big Helter Skelter, but you have to pay extra to go on the old-fashioned fairground place.
Yeah.
So hopefully we're going to get a recording in a little bit when
Of
you are
me
dressed
in
up in character, because you've learnt off by heart all the stuff about the general store.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's going to be really good.
okay, well, should we pause there?
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Welcome to Gregory's General Store. What would you like to buy?
Well, can you tell me about the general store, please?
Well, it began as a pair of houses built in 1883 by an ironworker called Charles Gregory in Lawrence Lane, Old Hill. And it would sell almost everything people would need. And as the shop became more popular, it was converted to a double-fronted room downstairs with living accommodation for the family upstairs. And there was a kitchen down there with for the family use, and then there was also a storeroom for the shop downstairs.
Where are you now, Eden?
We're in the laundry.
And what's this noise I can hear in the background?
That's the water squeezer thingy.
The mangle.
Mangle pulling, squeezing the water out.
So what have you been doing here at the laundry?
We're just you're pushing down the clothes and stuff in the big barrels, and then you squeeze it through the mangle thing, and then you put out.
And then you're pegging it onto the line, which you're doing this very moment.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Right, I'll leave you to it.
Yeah.
How did you feel the whole day went?
It was so cool.
What was your favourite thing?
I don't know. I quite like being in the shop, to be honest.
Yeah.
Actually, it was dressing up and seeing myself in the shop windows.
Yeah, you looked really authentic.
Yeah.
And you'd specially learnt all about the shop. So what can you remember?
Yeah. Well, I basically memorised it all.
Okay, so say some of it for people listening.
So it began as this shop began life as a pair of houses built in 1883 in Loch Nine Hill.
Okay.
And they were built by Charles Gregory, who was naturally an iron worker.
Okay.
And the family kept pigs in their backyard. And the Gregory's general store would have almost everything people would need. Though many shops would just sell like one egg, half an ounce, half a bit of bread, half a loaf of bread, and an ounce of tea.
Oh, right, but it had everything.
Yeah.
And how was it laid out?
It was like, so there was, as it became more popular, there was a double-fronted room downstairs with living accommodation for the family upstairs. There was also a kitchen downstairs for family use, and the other room downstairs was turned into a storeroom for the shop.
Wow. And that's the actual building that was at the Black Country Museum was Gregory's General Store that they'd rebuilt carefully.
Yeah.
And then so what were some of the other things you could do? So people working in the bakery.
Yeah, we did the bakery. I only stayed for the washing up and the bread.
Okay, and then the laundry as well. So what were some of the things you had to use in the laundry?
So there was this weird spinny thingy.
It's called the mangle.
The mangle, yeah, like a mango.
So to dry it out.
Yeah, to dry it out, and you would put the wet cloth on one side, and then you would spin it, and one of the other girls would pull it out from the other side.
Oh, right. And how did you get it wet in the first place?
And we put them in the big washing tubs with soap in, and there were two different types of things. So there was this pulpy thing, which is basically like the thing which plumbers use.
Yeah.
That, but it had little holes around the sides, and you would push it down and up.
Yeah.
And then there was the other one, which was like a big wooden thing. It looked a bit like a barrel at the bottom, and then it had like a a piece of wood going up and a handle.
Yeah. And what did you have to do with the soap?
You had to grate it up.
So it came in great big bars, and you had to grate it.
Yeah.
Wow. So what a fun experience to have.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Great to be part of it.
Yeah.
And really lovely weather there as well.
Definitely very nice.
So that was our experience at the Black Country Museum.
Yeah.
You're listening to the Home in Matters podcast.
Well, lots of other things to talk about.
Yeah.
Something we meant to mention in the last episode, we didn't get round to, was our wildlife camera, which we'd put out.
Yes.
So what did we get some fantastic videos of
Foxes.
a couple of weeks ago?
It was foxes. It was so cool.
So this is a piece of kind of woody land just to the side of our house, and we put it out in there. And how many foxes did we see?
We saw two.
2 foxes. And how could we tell them apart?
One of them was a lot more stocky, but his tail had chunks bitten out of it, and he was a bit darker.
So we think that was the male.
Yeah, he's called Freddy.
We've called him Freddy Fox. And then what was the other one?
So we think it's a female because she was a bit thinner, and she was quite pretty actually.
Yeah.
And she was a bit more of a bright red, and she didn't have any chunks out of her.
Yeah, although we're skipping ahead of ourselves. So she had a lovely bushy tail, but obviously the camera we got was overnight, so it was black and white.
Yeah.
But then the other morning, 6:15.
Yeah.
What did we see looking out of our conservatory windows?
Foxes.
In our garden.
In our garden, running around.
Yeah, that was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Both of them.
It was amazing, Frizzy and Freddy.
Just there, right outside our window.
Yeah, right outside, running around. They were quite inquisitive too.
They really were.
Yeah, and they jumped through our fence into our neighbour's garden.
Yeah, so that was really exciting. We've actually lent our wildlife camera to some of our other neighbours, but we Yeah, over the road. Just because they've got some land at the back of their house too.
Wow.
And they wanted to know whether anything was coming in, so
Cool.
it's a nice neighbourly thing to do.
Yeah.
And what else can we talk about? So, one day a week, is it Thursdays? You're doing quite a lot of geology.
Yeah, rocks.
So, and you did some fantastic geology experiments this week. So, what can you tell us?
So, we were doing about like all the different bits of rock. So at first we learned about the different bits in the earth. Layers, yeah, through Jaffa cakes.
How did you learn about the different layers of the earth through Jaffa cakes?
Well, first of all, there's the crust, and it's quite like a thin layer, and it's very like easy to break. So that's the top of the Jaffa cake.
The chocolate, yeah.
Yeah, the chocolate. Then there's a mantilla.
The mantle.
The mantle, and that's like the biggest part of it, and it's like where you start getting quite hot but not very hot.
Yeah.
And that's like the jelly bit of the Jaffa cake.
Yeah.
And then the core, it's a spongy bit of the Jaffa cake, and the core is like the hottest part of the earth.
And actually, we'd remembered that because we had done some study of that last year.
Yeah.
And when we went to, maybe it was even the year before, when we went to the Science Museum in London.
Yeah, that was really cool.
They had like a big earthquakes and volcano area.
Yeah.
So that was the first kind of
Bit.
experiment. I suppose it wasn't quite an experiment, but it was helpful to.
Yeah.
Very memorable way to learn it.
Yes.
And then you did a lot about the formation of different types of rock using a type of sweet.
Yes.
And now I must say in advance, other sweets are available, but take us through what you did, Eden.
So we used starburst sweets, and we chopped the pieces up into little bits.
Yeah. And what was that to signify?
That was the sedimentary rock. And then we sedimentary is
you just stuck them all together.
Yeah, basically.
And so how does sedimentary rock form? What was that illustrative of?
It's basically like when it basically gets like all the bits of like sand and bits of tiny little bits of pebble and stuff make like a.
They will lay down in a layer, like a layer of sediment.
I bet.
And what's an example of sedimentary rock?
Sandstone.
Sandstone, yeah.
Yeah.
So we did sedimentary rock by just putting these different coloured pieces of, like layering the different coloured pieces of starburst together.
Yeah.
And then you did some kind of physical process.
So we put our little like bally type things of starburst in a plastic bag and like squished them together.
Okay,
so that was like heat and pressure
and pressure inside the earth, and that changed its composition.
Yeah, so that became the thing which is change in Latin.
So
I can't remember its name.
Metamorphic rock.
Yeah, metamorphic.
So it metamorphosed into a different type of rock because you squished it all together.
Yeah.
And any idea about what types of rock metamorphic rock is?
I think. No, not really.
Yeah.
We didn't do
But that was a different type of rock because there's 3 different
Yeah.
rock types. So we've done sedimentary, we've done metamorphic rock, and then.
We did the best part of the experiment.
Well, what was this last part then?
So then it changes into volcanic rock, igneous, from it being blown out of volcano.
And how did you signify what was the mechanism that made it change from metamorphic rock to igneous rock?
So we took it out of the plastic bag and put it on a bowl, and then we just put it in the microwave.
So you melted it, so it was heat.
Yeah.
And it changed completely, didn't it? It just all melted together.
It was delicious.
And then you ate it.
Yes.
Which we wouldn't recommend you do with real rocks.
Yes, don't eat rock.
But that was a really memorable morning
Yeah.
of kind of geology.
Yeah, and with the igneous rock, it's the most common type of rock in the world.
Good knowledge.
Yeah, and marble's igneous rock.
Yeah. So we've also been doing a lot of study of Egypt
Yes.
recently.
Ancient Egypt.
And to help us study that, and because it was in the clearance, we bought a big Playmobil pyramid.
Yeah.
Because it was on offer. a much bigger box than I expected to
Yes.
collect from John Lewis.
Did you look funny when you were on the train home with it?
It was a bit funny on train home. So tell me, we still do a lot of learning through stories.
Yes.
So tell me one of the stories that we're reading at the moment that is helping us to learn about ancient Egypt.
Which one?
Well, just one of the stories that you're reading at the moment.
Well, we're reading Cat of Babastes.
Cat of Babastes, okay. And what's the story of Cat of Babastes?
So there's this boy called Amuba, and he gets captured by the Rebu, Egyptians. He's Rebu, but he and his friend Jethro, they are taken for slaves in their priest's house.
Okay.
But it's really funny because this is a bit I always remember when they're taken in to be chosen, like whose household things they are, because it's a family of 4, so the priests and the mom, and so the priest is the dad, then the mom, and then the 2 kids, and so the older boy is Amuba is his slave, and then Jethro is a little girl's slave because she bribed her father into it. And so her father is like, well, what are you going to do with Jethro? And so she's like, well, he can feed my animals, he can pick up my ball, he can row me in a boat.
Oh, wow. So,
Yeah.
so that's interesting. So, yeah, obviously there was big slave culture in ancient Egypt. What else? And so we've been reading Cat of Babastes.
Yeah.
We're working our way through. What are some of the other things we've been doing to do with ancient Egypt?
Well, we're making this like pyramid-y type thing.
So we at a car boot sale earlier in the year or last year,
Yeah.
for like £1, we got this amazing making box called Egyptian Mystery.
Yeah.
And it turned out that one of the heritage people that I work with, one of the archaeology team,
Yeah.
she'd had it when she was growing up.
Wow.
But it was it had all the bits. So what are some of, and you work your way through it. So what have you made so far?
Mystery. We've made a mummy. So we've made the outer cast of
You made
the
like
mummy.
the sarcophagus, yeah?
Yeah, with actually papyrus.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So you made kind of paper mache and you
Yeah.
decorated that.
And I did the top half.
And then you've made the actual kind of coffin.
Yeah, well, Mummy made that bit.
But what did you make that out of?
We made it out of plaster of Paris.
Okay, and that's been decorated as well, because there's moulds
Yes.
for all these things. So what's the next stage, do you know?
Not really. I think we might like try and, I don't know, we might need to paint the sarcophagus thingy a bit more.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because there's like an inner and an outer sarcophagus, isn't
Yeah.
it? So that's nice practical making craft stuff as well.
Yeah.
What other things have we been doing with ancient Egypt? Is that mainly it
Mainly it.
so far? Have you been watching any documentaries about it?
No, we do watch Indiana Jones. That's ancient Egypt.
Well, yeah, there was some of that too. So anyway, as we said in our last episode, like we're only at the beginning of our latest learning journey, our latest year.
Yeah.
So lots of these things will develop over the next few weeks and months.
Yeah.
Can you think of anything else you want to talk about on this episode?
We do potions.
So
which is chemistry.
Chemistry, yeah. So what sort of chemistry stuff have you done so far?
There's this really cool like potions book, which is like Harry Pottery because it's got all the ingredients, but they say unicorn tail is like bicarb of soda, but it's got like what it is on the bottom too.
Okay.
Yeah, and so you can the first experiment we did we put milk in a bowl, and then we got this washing up liquid, and with food colouring, we used and put food colouring in the milk. And we used to buy the stuff.
Bicarb.
Washing up liquid.
Washing up liquid on the milk.
Yeah, on the milk
colouring.
with food colouring on top. And it was so cool. It was like an explosion took place in the milk.
Wow.
But because all the food colouring moved away.
So it repelled the food colouring?
Yeah.
Interesting. And we've also been doing herbology because we've got a bit of a magical wraparound for our curriculum this year.
Yeah.
So you've made something really lovely to drink this this week?
Lemon balm tea, and it's really nice.
So how do you make lemon balm tea?
So basically, there's a plant called lemon balm, and it's really nice. It was basically like made for children. It's very mild.
Mm.
And basically, you get the leaves, and you basically put it in a pot of water and boil it, and then drain the leaves out, and then just drink it.
Is it really tasty? And is it really
Yeah.
good for you?
Yeah, it's very good for you. It stops stuff like fevers and scaredness and stuff.
Anxiety. Lemon balm. So we play Wildcraft a lot, which we really like.
Yeah.
Is lemon balm in that? Do you know?
Yeah, it is.
Is it?
Yeah, because the herbology book we're doing it from, it's actually made by the Wildcraft.
Oh, it's linked to
people.
that? Oh, that's
Yeah.
really interesting. Yeah, that's a game we'd recommend, Wildcraft. Hard to get in the UK.
Yeah, but it's very good.
Really fun game. And cooperative as well. So.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. So it's the end of a bank holiday weekend. We've had people
guests.
staying,
Yeah.
which has been really nice. Your cousins have been coming to stay.
Yeah, they've come to
And
stay.
although some of us have had some upset tummies, a good
Yeah.
time was had by all.
Yes.
So, but now we're recording a podcast. So,
Yeah.
now one thing we need to ask, a big favour of you, if you are listening and if you are a friend of the show and like the show,
Yeah.
we would be really grateful if you would leave us a review or a rating, preferably a nice review or a nice rating.
Yeah.
Because we realise we don't actually have very many.
Yeah.
We've got some nice ones, but some people only gave us 1 star. I know, that made me really sad. So we do actually need more ratings. If you like us, especially on iTunes, but other places that you listen to the podcast, a small review, a rating, we would really, really appreciate that. It does help
give
us
us
get
motivation.
Yeah, and it does help us with visibility. So if you feel that other people would benefit from hearing our journey and some of the things that we talk about, the algorithms in the podcast apps and things like that, they do reward higher rated shows. And at the moment, we haven't got many ratings, so we're not as visible. And that's not the reason that we make this thing. We just love we love making
being it.
and we love hearing from you as well. But if you could take a moment to rate and review our show, we would really, really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. We need motivation.
Yeah, and that's about it for this week.
Yes.
So we will try and do another one in a couple of weeks. We will have some stuff on location from Cornwall, where we will be going for a little bit.
Yeah.
So we will be tying in, camping, and we're going to go down a mine, hopefully.
Really?
Go to some other places.
Wow.
Yeah, well, that'll tie into some of the geology stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, on that happy note, we will
Goodbye.
see you next time. Goodbye.
Adieu.
Adieu. You've been listening to the Home Ed Matters podcast. We love hearing from you, so email us at homeedmatters@gmail.com, follow us on Twitter at homeedmatters, and visit our website, homeedmatters.co.uk. If you enjoy the show, please leave us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, or the UK podcast directory. Thanks for joining us, and enjoy your home ed journey this week. They say absence makes the heart grow fond. Well, I've grown quite fond of you. Some people may think you're strange, but I think I'm strange too. It's raining outside, and it's raining inside too. I wanna go home, a place where I'm known, and where I know you. Walk familiar streets.